Going on, guys and gals? Carolina Jackpot coming at you on Friday morning. It's time for the picks against the spread for week number 5 of the college football season. I've got the games listed down here that intrigue me the most, and we're going to get into them right now. Tonight, we got 3 matchups on Friday night. I'm going to break down a couple of them for you as best I can. We have Houston going on the road, taking on Tulsa. Tulsa 3.5 point favorite at home against the Houston Cougars. I think just looking at these two teams on paper, I think Houston has the better quarterback play. I think they have more overall talent here. Tulsa is a team that can score some points when they go up against a defense that's going to allow them to do that. And you'll probably see that somewhat on Friday night. I look for more of a high-scoring affair, which usually is the case whenever Houston is involved. Tulsa also with a pretty decent defense, and at home, I have no problem with laying the short number with the Golden Hurricane. Give me Tulsa to cover against Houston, a team that really not as good as what many may have thought before the season started. We got Iowa tonight going on the road, taking on Maryland. The Terps are catching 3.5 at home against the number 5 rated Hawkeyes. Is Iowa really deserving of a number 5 ranking? You be the judge of that. I don't know. They are a really good defensive team. However, their offense, pretty mediocre. Their quarterback, Spencer Petras, has kind of struggled this year. Just a little over 50% of his passes. He has about a 105 QB rating. On the flip side of the coin, Talia Tagovailoa of the Maryland Terrapins has about 175 quarterback rating. So you can see how this one's going to go. If you want to lay the points with Maryland, you're going to expect a decent amount of points to be scored. If you're going to lay the points with Iowa, you would expect a defensive struggle. Here at home in a primetime spot, as a primetime home underdog, I'm going to go lay with the Terps here to cover that 3.5. I like them to pull the upset tonight. At home, this is probably the biggest game that they've played since they've been in the Big Ten, and I think Iowa is not a number 5 team in the country. I think they're definitely fringe top 10. I don't think they're a number 5 team in the country. I think Maryland gets the job done here tonight and moves on to 5-0. Tennessee on the road at Missouri. Missouri is now only laying 2.5 at home. This is moving into Saturday's card. The quarterback play for Missouri this year has been pretty outstanding, given what he has to work with at wide receiver. Running back play, pretty decent as well. Missouri's a pretty well-oiled machine on the offensive side of the football. On the defensive side of the football, they are in shambles. Last week, giving up 41 points, right? To Boston College, lost that game in overtime, and really, just not a good showing at all by the Missouri team, especially trying to stop the run. Gave up about 270-something yards, I believe it was, on the ground to Boston College. And here you're going to be taking on a Tennessee team that also likes to run the football. They have a Jabari Small, who is a decent little running back there. And offensive line play at Tennessee, probably not as good as Boston College. Probably not as good. They've had some injuries there. They're a little banged up front at Tennessee. I think you're going to start to see some of the depth issues creep in on the Vols now that we all expected to see when they lost 25 players. Yeah, 25. Lost 25 to the transfer portal. They're coming off of a game against Florida where they looked decent for a half, which I don't know if that was Florida just coming out in a little bit of a flat spot after they, took Alabama to the wire. So I really don't know what to make here of these two. I think they're probably pretty much about evenly matched. I think whatever the total is here, you should bet over it. And I would probably go on ahead and lay my points with Tennessee. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm going to probably lay my points with Tennessee. I think they're going to get up for this matchup, and I think they're going to go on the road and get a win here. They beat Missouri last year. I could see them going on the road here and pulling off the mild upset against Missouri in a game that, probably not a lot of people are going to watch, to be quite honest with you, because you have an Arkansas-Georgia game coming on at 12 noon as well. Tennessee will also win this game and run around celebrating like they won the Super Bowl, knowing full well that they're going to get their shoulders kicked up around their butt kicked up around their shoulder blades. That's how it goes next week by my Gamecocks. App State on the road at Georgia State. Georgia State is catching 10 at home against Appalachian State. These teams played last year. They're familiar with each other. And Georgia State played App State really tough last year. This is a team that's kind of, you got your lower tier of Sun Belt teams. You got the upper tier, which App State's a part of. Georgia State somewhere in the middle trying to push its way into the top. They did have a bad loss week 1 to Army, and then went out, kind of got blown out by UNC, but they've slightly improved since then, going on the road, taking out Charlotte a few weeks ago, and then last week they pushed Auburn, were leading most of that ball game, and when in fact Auburn was able to make a late fourth quarter comeback and get a 10-point win. But Georgia State, a really good 1-3 team, in my opinion. And here in this spot at home, I like them to cover against App State. They've changed quarterbacks, and what they're doing seems to be working. Give me the Fighting Sean Elliott's to cover that 10 at home against App State. We got UL Monroe going on the road to Coastal Carolina. Coastal is laying 34.5 at the beach. I would say take ULM here because I feel like the team is slightly improving. However, the quarterback, Rich Rodriguez's son, left the game last week against Troy, or either was put in the hospital after the game against Troy. Respiratory problems. It says over on covers.com that he's doubtful for the game against Coastal Carolina. To me, that means he's not going to play. If you've been hospitalized with lung issues, I really don't see you going out and playing the next week. If you are playing, I don't see you being that effective. I do think ULM has improved, but knowing that information, I just can't back them in this spot against Coastal. Coastal has been on fire this year. Had a game against Buffalo where, didn't quite cover the number, didn't really look all that great, but they had a get-right game last week against UMass, which everybody has a get-right game against UMass, it seems, and Coastal's on a roll. So I really wouldn't bet this one, but if I had to, I would side with Coastal. We got Boston College, the Eagles, undefeated, going on the road, taking on the Taters, the 2-2 Taters. Yeah, 2-2. Read 2-2. The Taters are a 14.5-point home favorite here. Las Vegas, I think, is just begging you to take the Taters because they feel like they're going to, find their offensive identity. They're going to, right the ship. The fact is, offensively, they're just not that good. They don't have anyone over on that side of the ball who has put up any kind of impressive eye-popping stats this year. And, there's no reason to think that it's going to happen on Saturday. Boston College is a team that's also going to be able to score some points and probably can control the clock a little bit with a ground-and-pound type running game. Clemson's lost to injury. Brian Breezy won't be back this year. On the defensive side of the football, Tyler Davis up front is also out for an extended amount of time. And James Skalski, who left the NC State game, the middle linebacker there that they called neck roll. Neck roll left the game. He was injured. They say he'll be okay to play this week. I don't know about that. Anytime I see anybody leave a game with an injury like that and have to go sit on the sideline the rest of the game, it makes me wonder about next week, regardless of what the coach says. So I think Boston College is going to be able to move the ball. Whether they're going to be able to score a lot of points, I don't know. But then looking at Clemson's offense, are they going to be able to score a lot of points? Don't know about that either. The running back, Will Shipley, he's going to be out for an extended amount of time as well. He got hurt in the NC State game. Not only did they lose the game at NC State, they've also lost a lot of talent off the team for injury and for undetermined amounts of time. Who knows what this is going to do to the rest of the season here, but there's no way that I'm backing Clemson in this situation, none whatsoever. I'm not listening to DJ's a great quarterback, who's going to have a breakout game, blah, blah, blah. Don't buy into that. Take Boston College. They normally play the Taters pretty tough. And, this Clemson team is way less talented than any of the ones that they've played tough in the past. Give me Boston College and then 14.5 points. UConn on the road at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a 14.5 point favorite at home. Everybody's laughing about this one. Vanderbilt, I'm not backing them in any situation. I have no problem here taking Vanderbilt to cover the spread in this game. UConn played last week against Wyoming at home, barely lost, 34-32. They've been absolutely woodshedded in every other game this season. I think they gave their best effort last week. I don't know if they have another one in them. Vanderbilt is still an SEC team. Yes, I know they got blown out by Georgia. Lots of people have gotten blown out by Georgia, and lots of people are going to yet get blown out by Georgia. Take that one out of the equation. They didn't play terribly against Stanford. They went on the road and got a nice road win against Colorado State, a team that pushed Iowa a little bit last week as well. So I have no problem here with taking the Commodores at home. I think they take care of UConn and that 14.5 points. Got Arkansas. The Fighting Sam Pittman's going on the road, taking on Georgia at Sanford Stadium. Georgia is an 18-point home favorite here against the 4-0 Hogs. All good things have to come to an end. Let's just go on ahead and get that out there. I do think Georgia wins this ball game on Saturday. I don't see any way that Arkansas is going to be able to really spring that upset, especially playing on the road. Quarterback KJ Jefferson, kind of a dual threat type quarterback for Arkansas, runs it a lot better than he throws it. He's kind of banged up here. Georgia is starting to get some of their players back offensively. I think that you'll see some points put up in this game. I don't like the under here. I think we'll see some points on Saturday afternoon. Arkansas had a pretty good win over Texas A&M last weekend. Some would argue and say that was an emotional win. Probably so. I think A&M right now blows oats. I'm just going to be frank with you. Everybody had them picked as a dark horse playoff team over the summer and this and that. I didn't see it. I was wondering, who's going to play quarterback for them? Who's going to do this for them? Well, we're starting to see that right now, aren't we? I like Arkansas in the spot to cover. I think that Pittman is a really good coach as far as motivating his players goes. I don't think he's going to let them have a letdown effort here against Georgia. I think they realize that this is the meat of the schedule. This is a very tough ball game for Arkansas. I can see these two trading blow for a while. I do think Georgia's superior talent and depth will take over in the second half, but I like the Hogs to cover that 18-point number right here. Give me Arkansas to cover the 18 against Georgia, and I do think that this is a fringe one, and I did have to think about it for a little bit. I could see Georgia winning by 17 points. I could see Arkansas just barely covering this number. I can even maybe see a backdoor cover type situation. But the thing about it is we've seen a lot of underdogs cover this year, guys. A lot of unders. And no exception to the rule here with this one. And talking about another one, we got Pitt going on the road, taking on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is catching 3 at home here against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I like Jeff Collins' team in this situation. They're coming off of a nice win in the Mercedes-Benz Dome against UNC, which they absolutely blew North Carolina out last weekend. Pitt comes in. This team can put up some points. But Georgia Tech's defense has actually been coming around. Quarterback Jeff Sims is back. He's healthy. This is kind of a little bit of a revenge spot game, too, from last year. If you'll remember, there was some bad officiating, or so it was bad as far as in the eyes of Georgia Tech coach Jeff Collins. Very angry and upset after that game, and teams were kind of chippy throughout. I expect to see another of those type matchups, and I expect Georgia Tech to come out on top here against Pitt and cover that 3 points. We got Duke going on the road, taking on North Carolina. Duke is a 20-point underdog against UNC. You know, this is a rivalry game. If you're in a little small downtown area, you're driving an 18-wheeler, why would you get in the far left-hand lane to make your... I don't understand that. What an idiot. I think they just give out CDLs. I don't even know if you even have to have a CDL to drive a truck anymore. I really don't. I think they just they have a paper one that they pull out of the desk when they're getting your paperwork, job application shut together, and they just put it in there for some of these people. They're so desperate, man. It's sad. Duke, you know, I'd like to give to call for Duke to cover this number in this game because this is a rivalry situation. However, I mean, if you looked at this game last year, UNC absolutely blew Duke out of the water. Now, I know, UNC is missing a lot of talent off last year's team. I understand that, and I'm fine with that. But when we look at Duke, they won last week against Kansas, but they were really pushed by Kansas. They were really pushed around by Kansas, and going into the third quarter, I believe they were trailing in that game, and it trailed most of it. Had to kind of stage a second half comeback against the Jayhawks. They also have lost to Charlotte this year. I don't know that I'm that impressed with Duke. UNC needs a good feel-good bounce-back game here after that loss to Georgia Tech when it was looking like UNC had kind of righted the ship a little bit. I'm going to take the Tar Heels at home to cover the 20 against Duke. I think they blow them out. I think that Duke's just not a very good football team, and North Carolina wins this one going away and pretty easily. We got Charlotte, the 49ers, going on the road, taking on the Illini. They are 10.5-point underdogs on the road against one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the Big Ten in Illinois. Charlotte quarterback Chris Reynolds seems like he's been there since 1997. Doing a pretty good job so far this year. They won last week against Middle Tennessee State at home. They've knocked Duke off this year already. So they have a Power 5 win under their belt here. I like the 49ers going on the road. I like this underdog. This is kind of a flat spot for Illinois. A noon game. They got a game against Wisconsin next weekend. I think that's kind of a little bit of a rivalry game, right? Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know that much about Big Ten football, but I do know enough to know that Illinois and Wisconsin are fairly close there. So they should be natural geographic rivals over in the Big Ten West. I just look for Illinois to probably come out kind of flat. They got a ways to go there before they are competitive in the Big Ten. Looked like the first week of the season that was going to be everybody's darling because they knocked off Nebraska. Turns out that Nebraska just kind of shot themselves all over the foot there. Illinois is not that good. Give me Charlotte to cover there, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Charlotte get the win. We've already seen Illinois drop a game to a non-Power 5 team in UTSA. UTSA, a much better team than Charlotte. However, they're not that much better, and Charlotte's still a pretty good ball club, so give me the 49ers. Texas going on the road to TCU. Is Texas back? I don't know. One loss team so far. Should have put like 70-something points on the scoreboard last week against Texas Tech. They had a 58-0 win over Rice 2 weeks ago. They're putting some points on the board. The quarterback change has done some nice things for them there. Here, they're taking on TCU, a team that was known for defense. It's the only team in the Big 12 that really tried to play defense, we're told. Hadn't seen it this year. Gave up a ton of points to SMU, which a lot of people are going to do. They also gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards to Cal, which is a wet fart of a team offensively. Normally, I'm going to go with the home team or pass in this situation. Give me TCU there, but I really wouldn't mess with this one. It's just too close to call. Texas clearly the better team. Some strange things have happened, though, when these two have hooked up in the past, and TCU would shock me to see them pull the upset. It also wouldn't shock me to see Texas blow them out. So, therefore, I'm just going to stay away from this game. I don't have a strong feeling about it one way or the other. Excuse me as we go by the school zone. That's not to be playing around that. All right, Michigan going on the road to Wisconsin. Michigan is a 2-point road underdog to the Badgers. A lot of people probably scratching their head at that. Well, they're just going off history on that one. Wisconsin, a lot of people are going to look at that final score last week against Notre Dame and say, well, I got blew out in Carolina Jackpot. Well, they really didn't. They were winning that ball game going into the fourth quarter, and Notre Dame just scored a ton of points off of pick sixes, kickoff returns, and just absolutely just blew their doors off in the fourth quarter that way. But Wisconsin is a team that's going to get into kind of a rock fight with you. Michigan has kind of exceeded expectations this year under Jim Harbaugh. So I think it's starting to put together the type of season that they've been looking for there for a while. They failed to cover the spread against Rutgers last week at home, but don't let that fool you. Rutgers is not a bad football team. I do think Michigan is the better team here. I do like them to go on the road here and get a win over Wisconsin. And the Wisconsin quarterback play just an issue. So let me go on ahead and take Michigan in this spot to cover here. We got Louisville going on the road, taking on Wake Forest. Wake is laying 7 at home against Louisville. I think this is going to be a good ball game. I think this may be one of the better ball games of the week. Louisville, we know that they can move the ball around. They're going to spread the field out a little bit. Something a dynamic Wake hasn't really seen that much of this year. They're going to score some points. Malik Cunningham versus Sam Hartman. I think Malik is the better of the two quarterbacks here. I like Louisville to go on the road here and possibly pull an upset, but I definitely like them to go on the road and cover the spread against Wake Forest. I like the over in this ball game as well. I think we'll see some points scored here. Go on ahead and take the surprising Cardinals to cover against Wake Forest. Cincinnati on the road at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is catching 1.5 at home against the American Athletic Conference darling, the Cincinnati Bearcats. Can they do it? Are they going to be able to make it in the college football playoff? Well, this is going to go a long way towards determining that. It's going to go a long way towards determining that. If they can get this win here, this would probably be the biggest win in school history. I know they've won a couple of New Year's Day bowl games that were pretty big wins for them in the past, but this is one that kind of paves the road to what's going to happen down the line there, especially if we see these teams like Clemson, teams like Oklahoma, which are struggling. If these guys start falling in the ditch, which Clemson's already in the ditch, Oklahoma's on their way to the ditch, this opens the door up for a team like Cincinnati to really make that clear-cut push into the playoff. Notre Dame, when they take on really good teams, highly ranked teams, lately it seems like they get their doors blown off. I don't think they're going to get their doors blown off here by Cincinnati, but I do like Cincinnati to win this ball game. The quarterback play for Cincinnati has been a little bit suspect, and Marcus Freeman over there on the other side of the ball, defensive coordinator for Cincinnati Notre Dame, see, I already said, knows all about Cincinnati because he was defensive coordinator there last year. Helped lead them to an undefeated record and an appearance against the Peach Bowl against the Bulldogs. So, situationally here, this thing sets up good to me for Cincinnati. I mean, this is their Super Bowl. This is it. I mean, if they don't, there's no chance of a playoff here unless they win this ball game. They've got to have it, and I think they get it. I think they come out strong because they've come out of the gate kind of slow. A couple of times this year, had to kind of wake up against Murray State. Had to kind of wake up against Indiana. What was that? A couple of weeks ago. I think they come out focused in this one. I really think Luke Fickell's a good coach. Program's very familiar with each other, even though they don't play. I don't know when the last time these two hooked it up was. I'd have to go look that up to find that out. But I like Cincinnati in this ball game to cover against Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame had a pretty nice win last week. They'll probably still be riding that just a little bit. And I think Cincinnati gets them at home here. Syracuse got the orange going on the road, taking on Florida State. This line was opened up at 3, I believe, and now it's ballooned up to Florida State laying 5.5 at home. People are just begging you to take Florida State. I don't see it. I'm not taking Florida State in this situation. I'm going to lay the points with the Qs. Go ahead, lay the points with the Qs. Why would you take Florida State? I mean, what have they done to make anyone think that they're worthy of covering that 5.5-point spread? I don't think they beat Syracuse. I think they lose and fall to what? 0-5, 0-6, whatever they're going to be. I think they're going to be 0-5. Syracuse has looked a lot better this year than what people thought. They got the nice win over Ohio to open the season up. They put up 60 burger the other week. I know it was the University of Albany that they took on, but it was a very impressive win last Friday night in the Carrier Dome, 24-21 against a good Liberty team in Hugh Freeze. They were able to stop Malik Willis and company when it mattered. Are able to put up some points of their own there. Syracuse just looked like the tougher team. It looked like the more well-coached team there, the more disciplined team. Now they're going on the road to take on a Florida State team that's a mess. And you're going to favor Florida State? I just don't see it. I don't see it. Last week, I took Florida State in this situation. I fell into that trap, too, thinking, well, they got to win a game somewhere or another. And, they can win it against Louisville. Didn't happen. And I don't think that they win it against Syracuse either. I think Q's pulls this one out and covers the spread against Florida State. We have UCF. The Knights going on the road, taking on Navy, and they are 16.5-point road favorites here, headed to Annapolis without their quarterback. Mackenzie Milton went down with an injury there, and that's a huge cog in the offensive wheel for UCF. We know they struggled defensively, too. They, gave up a ton of points. Louisville, a ton of yards to Louisville on Friday night a couple of weeks ago, and that loss there looked kind of sloppy too down the stretch. Navy also gives up a lot of points, which is not really what you would say about Navy. But the past couple of years, ever since the BYU game to open up last season, they have been a shell of what they used to be. However, in this situation, I like UCF to fail to cover the spread, and I like Navy to cover the spread here. Give me the midshipmen at home. We saw them a couple weeks ago. They took on Houston, and Houston's another team that's known for scoring some points. They are known for being able to rack up some yardage against you, and Navy covered that ball game and lost, I think, 28-20 there. This feels like kind of the same situation here to me, except for Navy is at home. I believe that was a road game. I'm going to take the Middies to cover here at home against UCF. If Mackenzie Milton were playing, I would back UCF, but I can't in this situation. Quarterback play is just too vital to some of these teams. We got Ohio State going on the road, taking on Rutgers. Rutgers is a 15-point underdog. My goodness, see if you can see this. Damn, son. Oh, man. He's drunk as shit. Ooh, man. Damn, fella. You made the wrong choice there. Run your damn truck into a tree, and you're going to be going to jail. Things you see out in the States. Ohio State on the road at Rutgers. Rutgers is a 15-point underdog at home here against Ohio State. We saw Rutgers cover against Ohio State last year. This is a different Rutgers team than what you saw a couple years ago. Greg Schiano is an excellent coach. He's going to get this team into the upper section of the Big Ten before all is said and done. Here, I like Ohio State in this game to win. Quarterback play there. I'm not sure if that kid's going to be back this week or not for Ohio State. It was out last week against Akron. Didn't really matter. We do know that one kid isn't going to be there anymore. The one that threw his jersey up into, what did he throw his jersey down on the ground and stormed off like a big baby and tweeted out some ugly stuff during the game. Man, just kids nowadays, man, just entitled, just silly. I'm going to take Rutgers here to cover this 15-point spread at home. I like the underdog here. I like Rutgers to keep it close for a while, maybe jump out to a lead on Ohio State, but then Ohio State kind of takes over in the second half and ends up winning the ball game. But I do like the Scarlet Knights in Shire Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey, to cover. If you'll remember, if you've been watching this channel for a while, Carolina Jackpot walked up in that stadium over the summer. When I was in Pennsylvania, I went over to New Jersey to the beach one day, and on the way back, we stopped by Rutgers because I like college football. I like seeing college football venues and this and that, and there was nobody there, and it was stadium was totally empty, and I just walked right up in there, sat down at a seat right above 50-yard line. Go back and check it out on the channel. Carolina Jackpot at Shire Stadium. Anyway, Troy going on the road, taking on my Gamecocks. The Gamecocks are laying 6.5 points at home. This line's fallen. It opened up as Gamecocks is a 9-point favorite. Now they're a 6.5-point favorite, and I get why. This is a game I'm sure that folks are expecting to be kind of a low-scoring affair, defensive type struggle, and they're probably right. Gamecocks have had some problems on the offense this year. Saying that be an understatement. Just offensive. I can't. If you watched the channel, which I'm sure you all have, last weekend, you saw me my reaction to the game against Kentucky. It was absolutely horrible. That was an absolute, totally winnable game for South Carolina, and they were not able to move the ball against Kentucky at all. They were not able to figure out anything. It was just a piss poor failure to execute along the offensive line. Play calling was horrible. Failure to use the tight ends in any kind of situation. I could just go on and on and on about the Gamecocks' offensive problems, which absolutely shocked me to be saying that at this point in the season. I thought that we'd be giving up 40 points a ball game and 500 yards a game to other teams and getting blown out of the water that way, but I figured we'd still be running on teams. I think we're starting to see now with the Gamecocks the loss of offensive coordinator Mike Bobo. People didn't like the guy because they felt like he ran off quarterback Ryan Helinski. Ryan Helinski this, Ryan Helinski that. He didn't give Ryan a chance. Well, we've seen Ryan went to Northwestern. He's not very good there either. It's just not. Maybe the guy actually knew what he was talking about. People didn't like Mike Bobo. He left. I think that was a big loss for the Gamecocks because the offense that he had, kind of featured the running backs, and they were able to do a lot more stuff. This now, the offense is stagnant. Quarterback Luke Doty not moving the ball. Troy, they're coming in with a 2-2 record. They've lost to Liberty, which is one that everyone probably expected. But the loss last week against ULM was terrible. ULM, one of the worst teams in FBS, and they laid a turd burger against them. Still a decent team, which could probably push the Gamecocks, just because of the fact the Gamecocks are not going to be able to score that many points. However, 6.5, I think the Gamecocks can get up over that number. Give me the Cocks. We're going to cover here at home, okay? I could see the Gamecocks. I could see them winning this game. It feels like a 24-14 type game to me. Maybe a 24-17 game. But I do think the Gamecocks get the win and the cover. We got Ole Miss going on the road taking on Alabama. Alabama is laying 14.5 at home against the Fighting Lane Kiffins. Everybody in the world wants you to take Ole Miss here, and everybody in the world is taking Ole Miss. It seems like I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. That Alabama defense, they didn't look great against Florida. I still think Alabama has a good defense. I think they're going to stand up to the test here. I think that Nick Saban has been prepared for this game for a while, and Ole Miss comes to town. Still defensively, they've looked a little better this year, but I still think that Alabama is going to key on that. Give me the Crimson Tide to cover at home. I think they win this thing anywhere in the neighborhood of 21 to 24 points against Ole Miss, I think, who's just a year away, maybe. I don't know. I mean, they've got all the pieces put together offensively. Matt Corral is like actually a Heisman Trophy candidate right now, and is that because he's really good? Maybe. Or is that because some of the other quarterbacks out there that we thought were going to be really good really haven't been that good? I don't know. Is it kind of by default? We'll see Saturday night. I like Alabama here to cover this number. You don't get rich betting against Alabama. You just don't. Oklahoma on the road at Kansas State. Kansas State is catching 11.5 at home against Oklahoma. It's too many points. That's too many points. I'm taking K-State here to cover that number. Look, they've beaten Oklahoma the past 2 years. Kansas State doesn't have quarterback Skylar Thompson. Oklahoma's another one that's they're due for a breakout game. Well, I mean, when are they going to break out? When is it going to happen? I mean, they haven't broken out yet. So I'm not going to go on ahead and lay my points thinking that they're going to break out until I've actually seen it. I'd rather take a loss and then try to, come back after I have something tangible I can put my arms around. I'm going to take Kansas State to cover there in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, against Oklahoma. History dictates that it'll be a close game. We got Oregon going on the road to Stanford. Oregon is they're laying 8 on the highway against the Tree. The Tree didn't look great last week against LSU. Oregon also didn't look great at home against Arizona. Arizona had that game really tight, I think, going into the fourth quarter, and then Oregon just absolutely blew their doors off in the last stanza there, won 41-19. But probably maybe their only bad performance of the year. I don't know. We'll see. I like them going on the road here to cover against Stanford, though. I don't trust Stanford. That program's been falling a little bit for a while now. I'm going to take Oregon to cover there. We got Army going on the road, taking on Ball State. Ball is catching 9 at home against the Black Knights. Army's 4-0. Ball's 1-3. It's Army or pass here for me. You usually don't see high number point spreads when Army is involved, but they're clearly a better team than Ball State. I do like them on the road to cover that 9 points. We got Florida going on the road taking on Kentucky. Kentucky is now catching 7.5 at home at Kroger Field. We're told that Kroger Field is going to be packed and rocking on Saturday night. We'll see. Kentucky has played Florida pretty close. 2018, they got the win there, and I think that was Dan Mullen's first SEC game at Florida, if I'm not mistaken. They got the win. 2019 was kind of the game where Florida had to come back with Kyle Trask. You'll remember when Felipe Franks got injured when they were on the road at Kroger Field. And then last year, Florida kind of got the win pretty easily, if I remember correctly. I think Florida's just a better team than Kentucky. I just think that Kentucky, honestly, and I'll also go on and say it because it involves Gamecocks, they haven't played the greatest competition this year. They're probably the worst 4-0 team in the country. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that. And I'm not throwing stones at Kentucky by telling you that. I'm just stating facts. They are. They have like a -9 turnover margin. Running back Chris Rodriguez has a hard time, it seems, holding on to the football. Everybody wants to tell me he's one of the best running backs, or he's the best running back in the SEC. Well, you're not if you fumble the ball all the time. Okay, so you're just not. Florida as a team, with those kind of miscues, they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to take advantage of that, unlike what the Gamecocks did, unlike what Chattanooga was able to do down the stretch, like Missouri. I think that Florida covers this number here. I like them to win this game by double digits. We got Louisiana Tech, going on the road, taking on North Carolina State. North Carolina State is laying 18 at home. Big emotional win, Super Bowl type win for NC State last week, right? Finally knocked off the tater. Finally knocked off that smelly tater. Finally got it done after years of being able to, or years of thinking that they were like the second best team in the ACC Atlantic. Now they're the best team for right now. Them and Wake Forest. But we shall see how that plays out down the stretch. But I like Louisiana Tech here in this situation to go on the road and cover against NC State. With Dave Doran, we haven't seen them have that kind of a big emotional win ever over a highly ranked team. Or if we have, it's been a while. And I'm really not quite sure how they react. Most teams typically have a little bit of a letdown when they're playing a lesser opponent the next week at home. 2 weeks in a row at home, everybody's kind of like, oh, we got this done. We beat Clemson. Here comes They ain't nothing. They pushed Mississippi State in week 1. Should have won that ball game. Offensively, they're not bad at all. Defensively, do have some issues over there on that side of the ball. I'm going to take Louisiana Tech here to cover this number. I think NC State gets it done. Probably wins by 14 to 17 points. It would not shock me at all for them not to cover that number. We got Mississippi State going on the road, taking on Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 7-point home favorite against Mississippi State. The quarterback play for Texas A&M has not been good. They lost Kellen Mond, who it seemed like had been there forever, and in comes Haynes King. Kid gets injured after he hadn't really played all that great. This Calzada guy comes in. He's not very good either. So this ball game, I don't know what to make of. I would probably stay away from this one. There's, Mississippi State could definitely pull an upset somewhere. They didn't look great last week at home against LSU, but they looked out of this world a few weeks ago at home against NC State in a game that they control. So I would stay away from it. But if I had to, I would probably back Texas A&M and to have a bounce back from the loss to Arkansas. Just my thoughts and feelings here, but stay away from that one. Western Kentucky on the road at Michigan State. Michigan State is laying 10.5 at home against Western. Classic spot for an upset. Classic spot for a team to play down. Michigan State coming off of a huge win at home against Nebraska, which they went to overtime against a rival, and they're sitting here at 4-0. They weren't expected to be here. Do they even know how to act? I don't know. Western Kentucky is a team that is going to move the football. I listened to some of these Las Vegas podcasts, and they were talking about, Western's not really known for defense anymore because they've changed. They've got this quarterback now from Houston Baptist, this Bailey Zapp kid who's got like 12, 13 touchdown passes in like 4 games. And so they're not really known for their defense any longer, which they were known for several years there when they were in the upper part of Conference USA. No, the reason why they're not known for defense is because defensive coordinator Clayton White left and went to South Carolina. People need to do your research a little bit more than that. In this situation, I like Western Kentucky to cover again against a Big Ten team. They covered last week against Indiana. I like them to cover tomorrow against Michigan State on the road. Give me the tops, baby. Auburn on the road at LSU. LSU is laying 3 at home against the Auburn Tigers in a game that starts at 9 p.m. Why? Not really sure. This one's in Death Valley. Home environment for LSU. We know how that goes. It's kind of a revenge spot for them as well. Will quarterback TJ Finley get the start for Auburn tomorrow? I don't know if he's been named the starter or not. He kind of took over for Bo Nix there, though, last week and led them to that come-from-behind win over Georgia State at home. Here, LSU 1-0 in conference play. I like the Bayou Bengals to get this win at home. I think that home field advantage has a lot to do with your success or failures in this series. So going ahead and give me LSU. We got Washington going on the road, taking on Oregon State. Oregon State is laying 1.5 at home against Washington. Now, when is the last time that has happened that Oregon State has been favored over Washington? It's been a while, right? Well, Washington stock's falling, and Oregon State is a team that's on the rise. They got a nice win on the road last week. They kind of blew out Southern Cal a little bit. The Beavs, man, I'm telling you, and Jonathan Smith, this team is looking good. And this is without their starting quarterback. Starting quarterback's been injured, haven't played all year long. They are able to do it right now. They had a loss against Purdue in the opening week of the season, which they've kind of bounced back from. Here at home, I like them against Washington. This team's kind of looked flat all year long. They've had a bad loss at Michigan, just barely scraped by Cal last week at home. Give me Oregon State, the Beavs, at home in Corvallis to cover that 1.5. I would like them to take down the Washington Huskies. We got Arizona State going on the road to UCLA. UCLA is laying 3 at home against Arizona State. Arizona State, if you look at who they've played this year, they have not played a decent offense this year. The only time they did play one that was halfway decent was BYU, and they lost to them. Here in this situation, UCLA only catching 3 at home. To me, it's like free money. I like UCLA this year. They look good. They beat LSU already. They took down Stanford. The easy win at home against San Jose. Can't you see? The loss to Fresno, that's a black mark, but Fresno is a team that they competed with Oregon. Honestly, could probably beat more than half the teams in the Pac-12, and I'm not being silly by saying that. I truly believe that Fresno is a high caliber team. Here in this spot, I like UCLA at home to get the win. I haven't been that impressed with Arizona State this year. Give me the Bruins to cover that 3 points. Quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's had some injury issues earlier on in the season. He's kind of healthy too now. They're able to run the ball. Give me UCLA. Fresno on the road at Hawaii. The aforementioned Fresno Bulldogs in the last game on the docket. This is the Degenerate Special. Okay, over on the island, Hawaii is catching 10.5 at home. It looked like a couple weeks ago they went out, took on San Jose, and they ended up losing that ball game, something like 17-14 at home. They're like, man, look at that. Hawaii's got a defense. They're really good. But then last week, San Jose goes on the road against Western Michigan and just absolutely gets obliterated. So that team's stock has definitely fallen down a lot this year. I think Fresno clearly the better team. clearly the better offense. We did see them, even they had a little bit of a hangover last week. They had to kind of come from behind in the second half to beat something called UNLV at home, which they were a 30-point favorite against. Only ended up winning like 38-30. Here, I think you see a nice bounce back from that performance by them over in Honolulu. Hawaii, they're playing in like a, I don't know, they're doing some renovations to the Aloha Bowl, or Aloha Stadium right now. I don't know, they're playing on like a Little League field or something over there. It's crazy. I don't know. Give me Fresno to cover that 10.5 on the road against the Rainbow Warriors. So that's Carolina Jackpot's picks against the old spread for week number 5 of the college football season. If you enjoyed the content that you saw here today and you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And please also, if you decide to subscribe, click that there bell so that you get the notifications on all these Carolina Jackpot videos. We do college football videos here all the time. And if you liked it, also give it a big old thumbs up. I will see y'all later, guys. Appreciate it. Peace. And I'm out. And go Gamecocks. Spurs up till thy toes up, baby.